All right. Doug asks, I had a recent experience with my MacBook Pro with an M4 Pro chip. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. I was editing a movie with iMovie and it began beachballing. And then I received a pop-up indicating that various apps had been paused due to low memory. This is the first time this has happened. First of all, I was glad for the ability to click in the pop-up and choose to close a program or resume it. However, that did not fix the underlying issue. After some trial and error, I thought to check the amount of free space on my internal drive. And sure enough, I found the space was beginning to be somewhat low. I took the time to free up stuff, and the low memory issue resolved itself. I write because I would not have identified a low memory warning message with low disk space, but maybe this is somehow related to how Apple's unified approach to memory works. What else would I have done to know this? And I think I love this question. Adam, you have some thoughts about this?
Cleaning up storage or identifying when that is the issue? I think. What are we talking about?
Let's do both. Let's talk about identifying when that's the issue, because I mean I just mentioned it too, right? That I have to be proactive about it on this computer here in the studio because I've got that 500 gig drive. So
yeah, I mean, it's one. I guess for me, it's become just one of the first. If I am seeing like a slowdown on my system. I'm not using, I don't know if you're using any tools to actively monitor for it. I'm not really. I think Clean My Mac might be able to do that, but I don't like stuff running in the background, so I don't let it do that sort of thing. But, you know, it's just one of those first troubleshooting things that if I'm working on my Mac and I'm seeing spinning icons and things just feeling sluggish and stuff like that, I will just, pop open the Apple menu and, about this Mac and look at where my storage is sitting, basically.
Sure.
I think you have to click more info now, but basically just double check. Okay, how much do I have available? How much am I using? And even like right now, I am almost full on my thing. I haven't noticed any slowdowns yet, but I have about 18% free space.
Yep.
Which is not great. I don't like operating in that mode. I usually like at least 20, if not more. But, if it gets down to like 10%, 5%, I think that's when you're going to start seeing, at least that's when I start seeing things get really chunky.
Yeah, I don't worry as much about the percentage thing anymore.
Huh.
Well, because I don't have that luxury. On this drive, as Pete pointed out, 10 gigs is 2%, and I would have, if I were to set a percentage, I would have set it to 10% or something. But if I had 50 gigs free on this drive, I would be smooth sailing. And I think that's a function of us all being on SSDs now, right? In the percentage, keeping a percentage of your drive free was definitely something that made a difference in the rotational drive days. And I realize that rotational drives still exist, but by and large, our boot drives are not rotational drives anymore. And none of mine are. And I think SSDs allow us the flexibility, or don't have that same limitation, because it was all about fragmentation, right? And if you were down that low percentage-wise, it likely also meant that your drive was very fragmented, and that's going to slow things down. So to me, I think that's kind of where that guidance came from. I don't think it was bad guidance. I just think it's somewhat outdated. I use iStat menus to answer the question that you asked, Adam, and I use it for a lot of things. But I do two things with it that are germane to this conversation. One, I put my disk's free space in the menu bar. So at any moment in time, I can look and see that, like, wow, I have 41 gigs of free space. That's amazing. I'm
close.
No.
You're close.
Oh, I'm not anywhere.
No, I mean close to your 50 that you want.
I'm close. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this is wow, that's crazy. How did I get that? How did I get so lucky? I probably ran mole. Actually, I did. I ran mole from the couch last night. That's right.
There you go.
Came in across the network. But I do iSnap menus also lets you set alerts for a lot of things, and free disk space is one of them. And so I have an alert that will fire when I get below 10 gigs free. And I realize that's cutting it very close to the wire. But for me, that is where I must live on this. So I feel like I could find 100 gigs to get rid of on this, but I don't know where those would be. So I feel like
have ideas.
Oh, I got some too.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd love to have, because I think that part of this conversation is like, that's the second part of this conversation, right? Is where to clean things up. So where would you go, Adam, if you have ideas?
Well, you already mentioned, part of it. Temporary files, things like that are often culprits. I think we've talked about in the past, if you're using things like, any media streaming apps and you're downloading movies and things like that for offline. I do that with Apple all the time. Apple has built-in features that'll help you manage that, where, you can have it either auto-manage it, or you can go into your system settings storage area, right? And you can turn on, hey, if I've downloaded a bunch of movies, or audiobooks are another thing, all of those things are areas that I typically look in. What's another common one is two ones that I always forget about, but seem obvious once you say them. Email attachments that just build up and get downloaded over time. Suddenly you're like, I've got, somebody sent me a bunch of images or photos, and it's 5 years, and now I've got just tons of old attachments that I don't need downloaded locally on my machine anymore. So cleaning those up. And then related to that, and I just discovered this recently, is messages, like photos that people send you in messages. I went through and offloaded the ones that I wanted to truly keep into my photo library, and then just purged everything. And that got me a lot of storage back too. And so overall, for finding all of this stuff and cleaning up all this stuff, again, I know it comes up over and over and over again, but my tool is Clean My Mac.
Yeah.
It has the junk cleanup feature. It has the My Clutter feature, where you can point it at a specific folder and it'll find duplicates and large files and similar images and all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, you have Space Lens, which just gives you that visual map of your entire hard drive, so you can kind of hone in and see where are my largest files, and it'll help filter all that stuff and find those sorts of things. I guess the last one is which Clean My Mac also helps with, is leftovers from old applications and stuff like that, specifically stuff in your library application support folder, where a lot of apps will just dump junk. And you delete the app, by dragging it out of your applications folder, and then all the apps of data and garbage is still sitting there for years and years and years, and you don't really need it anymore.
Yeah. And you're right. Clean My Mac is great at that. It's, and this is why I don't recommend people get systems with only 500 gigs, half a terabyte, because I don't do any media consumption on this computer. Like this is a workhorse, this computer here. It is my podcasting computer, which means I edit the show on it, which now means editing video. But I have an external drive. Everything that is large that can be stored on an external drive is. I've been managing it that way from day one because I knew I had to do that. But so there's no, like, I don't have an iTunes library synced down. I am synced to my iTunes library, but it's all in the cloud. The same with photos, although I'm not even sure that I'm synced to my, I am synced to my photos. Am I? I don't know that I am. I think I'm not even synced to my photos library. But Apple Mail is a problem because I can't point it at an external drive for its storage. It must go in my home folder. And although I can set Mail not to auto-download attachments and things like that, right? So it's somewhat minimal, but still, it's not terribly minimal. And then Messages is the other one. But you're right. I need to take advantage of more of the Clean My Mac features. I definitely use Space Lens all the time, but Space Lens is kind of like you said, it just gives you that picture view, and I love it. But it's not doing anything smart. It's not guiding me through what I can delete. It's showing me what's there, and then giving me information that I can choose to act on or not. But doing the app cleanup and things like that. And then just other things like, I do run Logic on this computer, and Apple wants to download all of the Logic like support files, and those go in your home folder, and your plugins go in your home folder. It's like, nope, I've got this huge external drive here. Can we please use that? It's like, nope, that's just going to go in your home folder. It's like, cool, great, thanks, bro.
I've got two things to add. One is CCleaner is a free option and probably not quite as powerful as is.
How is that spelled?
C Charlie Leaner.
Yep.
Which is it's short for crap cleaner.
Yep.
At ccleaner.com. And there's a Mac version, and it's free. It does a nice job of cleaning up a lot of junk, and it's free. My favorite price. Here's the other one, and Dave, you're either going to say, "Oh man, hadn't thought of that," or maybe you have, or you're going to go, "Pete, you ignorant fool." I used AI to assist me with this. TMUtil list local snapshots, and then I went and said, "Here's the results," and I had bunches and bunches of them, and I said, "Delete all but the most recent one. Give me the terminal command to delete all but the most recent one," and I'm telling you, I got 130 gigs back the first time I did that.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have to use TMUtil if you don't want to.
Okay.
You can see them in disk utility. You have to give it a second. Go to the view where you're looking at the disk. It'll take a minute to enumerate through them all, and then they'll appear.
Okay.
And or you can use Carbon Copy Cloner if you have that to show you snapshots. But TMUtil can do it too. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't think you're an ignorant fool for doing that. But I will caution everyone. Tech support for anything, be it your computer or your, say, well pump, with AI is most valuable when you have a working knowledge of the subject matter and it is guiding you. I chose the well pump specifically. Like, I'm pretty good using AI to guide me and give me ideas that I might not think of for tech support with a computer, but I have enough experience with it to sort of filter through that and know, yes, this is a good path to go down, or whoa, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I don't have enough experience with my well pump to do things like that. And so
you do now.
No, I still don't. I really don't.
Okay.
No,
you have more experience than you did.
I do, but I still don't. I know enough not to know that I don't know nearly enough, right?
Yeah,
and so I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use AI the next time. I would call the professional, right? And so that's the pitfall of using a chatbot to assist you through that. But no, it's not bad. I find it very helpful because it'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Right? Okay, that's a great idea.
And the standard advice applies to that, right? Is have a good backup before you go down the road of
for sure.